Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thanks so much for joining me today. I am really glad that you are here. I am working on what should be a fairly quick journal with me. I am working on the first page in my May section of my journal. Now this is a journal that I created completely from scratch. If you haven't checked out the video yet, there should be a video in my playlist. I believe it's called Creating a Junk Journal, something like that, where I walk you through exactly how I made this journal. Now it is a no-sew journal, and I did create the signatures in this a little bit differently than I normally do. So this was kind of an experiment for me to see if I would like this kind of journal. So if you haven't seen that video yet, go check it out. Again, I walk you through exactly how I created this journal. There is also a part 2 to that video, and in that video I talk about some of the pros and cons that I've discovered from using this journal. Now I've only used this journal for 1 month. This is my yearly journal. This is my passion project. I've been doing a yearly journal for quite a few years now, and this is the first time I've done it in this format. So I really wanted to give kind of an honest opinion of how I feel about this, whether I would do this again. So I talk about the pros and cons in that video as well. So check out both parts 1 and part 2. So I am working on my May page. So I've done all of April and this is May. Now the thing about May was there just wasn't a whole lot going on, and so I didn't have a lot of photos. But one thing I did want to document was the weather. Now I know that a lot of places across the country had really weird weather this spring, and we were definitely not alone. But this was just something so different for us that I really felt like it was worthy of documenting. Now, I've mentioned before, I live in Colorado, and Colorado is technically considered a high desert state. We don't get a lot of moisture here. We don't get a lot of especially rain. Now we do get a lot of snow in the wintertime, but usually in the spring and summer, we're pretty dry. So this spring was definitely one that I have never seen. There was days, weeks, where we had rain almost every single day. You'll see from the temperatures there, that was probably the middle to end of May where it was 52 degrees, and we never have temperatures that low in May. So usually we're 70s, 80s by the time May comes along, and by the time June comes along, we're definitely in the 90s. So it was just so different for us, and I chose to use the Winnie the Pooh theme there because for weeks I would go into work and I would just sing, and the rain, rain, rain came down, 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 which comes from Winnie the Pooh and the Blustery Day. Now you can see over there to the right, I've got a print 4x6 photo that has the Winnie the Pooh with the rain, and it's to say, and the rain, rain, rain came down, down, down. I really tried to use it on this layout and I just can't make it work. But I did decide to use the 2 3x4s of Winnie the Pooh just to kind of go along with that theme. So that's why there is Winnie the Pooh there. So I printed out the 3 of them. One is a screenshot from my phone from the weather, and then the other one I just, they were Google images that I just printed as a 3x4. So there's me just trying to figure out how I can possibly use that, but there's just no way to make that work. So I added the 2 3x4s up at the top and decided to make a flip out of those. So I just added some washi tape to the left-hand side there just so that would flip open. And then I pulled from my stash, I had some 4x4 printouts for those cards, and I did decide to just trim one down to a 3x4, and I added a tiny word phrase, and I think it said like "so lovely" or something like that, because this truly is my favorite weather. I love cozy rainy days, cool rainy days like this, probably because, as I mentioned, we don't have them very often. So it was really nice. I don't think we turned on our sprinklers or our AC until after July 4th, which is absolutely unheard of. It was just the craziest spring. So with the photo on the bottom, I decided that I needed to have a place to hide some journaling. So with the layout the way that it is, I didn't have anywhere that I could journal, so I decided to just create a pocket out of that bottom photo and put a tag in there that I'll be able to pull out that will have the journaling on it. So on the front side, I just added the butterfly paper there, and just to kind of dress that front side of the tag up a little bit. And then on the back side, I pulled out this piece of lined paper. It just is in my stash. I think it comes from like an old traveler's notebook. And I decided to add it to the back just to give myself some lines that I could use to journal on. And then I decided that the space up there needed a little bit of embellishing. So I'm just going through my stash and trying to pull some things out that I can use to decorate that space a little bit. So you'll see me, I'm pulling things up and just trying to see what I can make work. Now, one of the things that I am loving about this journal is that I can work outside of the journal. And what I mean by that is normally when you build the signatures into your pages, or the signatures into your journals, you're journaling and you're, scrapbooking or whatever you're using your journal for inside your actual journal. And the way that I created this journal was by using white papers for my signatures. So that way I have some control over the pattern papers that are going in and what kind of pattern papers I have on the background for my photos. So it allows me to choose papers that go with my photos rather than just using whatever ends up being in the signature where I am currently working. So I am loving this. I'm loving that I can actually work on this page outside of the journal. And then when I'm done, all I have to do is add some adhesive to the back, stick it in the journal, and I'm done. I'm good to go. So that is one thing that I am definitely loving about this type of journal. So I finished up my journaling card and I'm just adding some ribbon here, just kind of, tapering the ends a little bit so that it looks nice. And now I'm able to pull that tag out and read the journaling, but it's also hidden and it looks nice. So this is where I'm going to go ahead and just add the adhesive to my backs and then just pop it in my book. And then that page is done. The only other thing that I am going to add to this is my monthly tab. So again, this is this is May. I've already done April. So I'm just going to add the tab up at the top that says May. And then I will pull out my Dymo labeler. This is my favorite tool in my entire arsenal of tools. I love the retro look that it adds to this. I'm just going to title this with May, add it on there, and then that layout is pretty much done. So thank you guys for joining me today. If you have any questions, please leave them down below. Otherwise, please give this video a thumbs up, consider subscribing to my channel, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.